Hello, I'm Whisper. This is Dyson's Speed Program, and we're going to have a look at automation through the game. And when I say automation, I'm talking belts and sorters, because without belts and sorters there is no automation. You're just copying something from one thing manually and dumping it in another facility manually. And that's not automation. So when we start the game, we should probably, what I like to do anyway, is automate our belts and sorters. So we'll start with Mark 1s and Mark 1s. And we'll have that because we'll be using those, and Mark 1 assemblers, because basically these are the only things we need. Well, smelters as well. We will not be using mining machines for testing, but it's, you may know, as long as each one of these covers 6 veins, divide by 2, you've got that much ore coming out every second. And that's just really easy. Cover 6 veins, 2 of those fills a Mark 1. So let's get started. We will have, I guess the first secret is, let's sort of start in the middle area. First secret is we'll start off with, when we get our first tech, we get given 3 smelters. And we will set them up for these 3 items in general. I'll just shove that there to power it all up. And we would manually copy from the mining machine and drop it into here. Tab, if I had iron ore, actually I'll show you. Oh, I can't get iron ore that way. Yeah, I'm sorry. If I had iron ore in my inventory, I could hit tab and it would just fill up the smelter. Same for here, same for here. Control, click to empty out a mining machine. Easy stuff. And then we get to our automation. We get our first few belts, and the first one we should do is, of course, iron. Up that way, click on there, goes into there. We'll just say that we would have, I will simulate having a mining machine by throwing down a PLS over here. So give me just a second. 1 PLS, put it there so we have plenty of room. Always give yourself plenty of room between your miners and your ore. That's because you can just basically go yay once you get the technology up. But if you've got your ore here, you're having to shove it over here, which means you need to leave lots and lots of space because it's a pain in the ass, that's why. So we will assume that we have iron ore and copper, because that's our first couple of ores. It does help if you tell it to put the ore out. So this would be the first real automation. We'll be getting the various ores out. Oh, come on you. And having our sorters pull it down. What am I doing there? Sorters, mate, sorters. Nobody ever really tells us much about ratios, and there's not a great need to think about it because the game itself tells us. It tells us in the thing itself. One smelting facility will make one iron ingot a second. Same for copper. These ones are mongrels. It takes 1.5 seconds. That means we need 1.5 iron smelters to get one magnet per second, which is a pain in the bum, but we'll talk about that in a bit. So the first thing is we'll just do that. 1 iron a second. Take it out. We'll just make a great big string there because we'll build to it. Give yourself plenty of room between your final smelter and your box. Now what will happen is when we first start, we don't have splitters, so we have to pull them in. Always do yourself a favour. Oops. Always do yourself a favour. When you get this in here, being able to just click that and hit tab and have a ton of whatever get plugged into the box, it's a lifesaver. Right, let's just put that sorters, and one more time. Always do yourself a favour. I'm probably going to repeat that everywhere. And of course, out we go. There we are. Now we'll just say we're not going to stack the belts because we're not going to. This is start game stuff. We do not have that tech. These belts will have a maximum of 6 ore coming out per. Let's do it. Technically I probably should have used faster belts, but I want this to basically show first game stuff. The basic tech we start with. So we've got 1, 1, and slightly less than 1 coming out, as you can tell by the extra space. Okay, so first automation. I should probably have made this a little further, thinking about it. We won't have enough space here. Bear with me just a minute while I correct my dumb mistake. It does help actually though, because I can demonstrate. Hit tab. Tab automatically goes straight out of your inventory. Lazy. Enjoy. Alright, first automation. We want to make belts. Belts require 2 iron every second. Because that's 1 assembler, takes 1 second. we only have 1 iron, so we're going to need 2 iron. So then we go to the next part. Belts also require 1 gear every second, and 1 gear requires 1 iron every second. 3 iron. So far we're in easy mode. So let us put down our Mark 1 assemblers, which will be these ones. These are what we start with. So we'll start by grabbing gears. Put it into there. Put it into a box. Did I say do yourself a favour? Yes. And in this case, you don't need 1,000,000 gears. Each one of those is 200 gears. It's honestly way more than you're going to need. Only bother with that if you feel like you're going to get several million, I should say several thousand, and throw them into a PLS, but that's a long way away. At this point, that's plenty. We are using 1 a second, 1 and 2 a second are going on past. Now, got gears. Let us put together an assembler, making 1 second makes 3 belts. So 1 assembler. So there. Put it into a box. Set it to how you like. This is definitely plenty. You can probably get away with just that many at the very beginning of the game. When you get towards the end part of the game, you probably want 2 or 3,000 in there. I'm just going to set it to that as a happy medium. And because we're getting 3 belts, we actually need more than 1 sorter to put it in there. And now, finally, we bring in the iron. Oh, might also help if we brought in the gears too, eh? There, belts are automated. 3 a second roughly. Essentially 2 a second because it only runs at 0.75, but details. Assume 3 a second or 3 a cycle. And we still get the occasional going past, because basically we need a little more iron going in. Looks of it. Keep up. Yeah, that's doing a better one. So there is your basic, very first automation ever. Now the second part, we need to automate sorters. 1 a second, assembler. Now, oops, not that one, that one. And that's 1 iron ore. 1 iron and 1 circuit board. The circuit board is 2 iron and 1 copper every second. That makes 2 of them. So we will start with circuit boards. Where are these? I could actually, in fact I will, put that closer, because I am going to need more iron, 2 iron a second. There's 2 iron and 1 copper, and you need 1 a second. it in here. Again, you could leave it at that. That's honestly plenty. 200 per stack. We actually need to have another sorter going across, so it makes 2 every cycle, and otherwise it'll just fill up. Control click, and alright, we have the point of that. Now we make our sorter mark 1 iron, 1 circuit board, 1 sorter. Into a box. Since we only make 1 at a time, we only need 1 sorter passing things through, and we only see the sorters there. And as you can see, we could do with a little bit of power. So let's power it up. Sorter. We need 1 iron and 1 circuit board. You can get the circuit board, but it's a little bit slow seeming. Why is that? Ah, well, we're using 1 iron there, 2 iron there, 2 iron there, and 1 iron there. That is 6 iron a second. We're only doing 3. Better take care of that, hadn't we? Now we're going to use up all of a Mark 6 belt, our starter belt. If we have any extra left over, it will go there. No troubles. How's this thing going? It's not filling up. We're doing generally alright. If anything, we're actually a little slow on getting copper off the belt. But that happens. Right, so we've gotten to that point of automation. That is your core automation. Now let's go to the next step. Let us look at that. Stuff we'll need for doing manual. Beginning, we need that. And we need that. Power generation, power transmission. And we will handcraft them. So we are going to need magnets, electromagnetic coils for both. That requires magnets. Excuse me, the old baby is really happy. So let us start. Here's our magnetic coil recipe. Our magnets, our copper, stick it in a box. Yeah, done. Now this is slow, and the reason this is slow is because we've only got 1 magnet coming through, and it requires 2 a second. Magnets require 1.5 smelters each to make 1 a second. We need 2, so that's 1.5 times 2 is 3. And we'll just chuck some power down. That will now carry there, and the occasional one will come through to our box. This one's actually getting a little more because we're not really chowing it down fast enough. That's alright. got a nice little stack going there. Technically, well, once that fills, that will fill up. We have a nice stack there. A nice stack is getting there and there. We have a nice stack coming through. We have some there. There is a little bit of overflow. On the whole, we are pretty darn good. If these were Mark 1s, these belts would be empty. In fact, this is running slow. Why are we running slow? We're using 1 copper there every second. Okay. And we are using 1 copper there every second, but we're only producing 1 copper. It's 2 copper a second. There. There is your base automation. For proper completion, we should basically take a copy of this down here somewhere, run another belt of iron ore in, and chuck another box. And that way we have plenty of iron ore to turn around and go, oh, I don't want that, I want that half of that, and let's make, oh, I did that by mistake. Get out of there. We're actually handcrafting it. We want to go like this. And we would handcraft a few of those. And then we chuck the stuff we don't need back in the box. Technically I should grab some of those out. So there is your first bootstrap. And later you would rip these out, you'd rip these out, you'd have more of these in, these would go up to 6, this would go up to, if we want 6 a second, a full belt, we would have 9 here, because we need half again the number of smelters. 6 to get 1, 6 to get 1, 6 doesn't get 1, it takes 6 times 1.5 or 9. And the game just tells us 1 to 6 a second, multiply the number of smelters by 1.5. Done. That's how many smelters you need. Okay, so there is the beginning. That would be a pretty decent beginning base. It can be a pain in the bum to get to this point, making these. But once you get them, you've got all the parts you need to continue. Well, other than, of course, the stone. We'll have to get that with another thing. So there would be your beginner, very beginner game. Now, let's look at the middle game. We can fairly much, or middle to end game, I should say. We can fairly much follow the same track. So what we have is belts. These are easy. 1 belt. Sorry, 1 second makes 3 belts. We've got that there. 1 turbine and 3 belts makes 3 belts. Easy. 1 supermagnetic ring and 1 graphene and 3 belts makes 3 belts. Easy. There is a little trick to it though, which I will show you now. And this isn't necessarily the smartest thing to do. It's just something that I like to do. I found this doing the 10-hour speedrun actually. 1 is not enough. 3 belts a second is not enough. What is needed is, I found that I needed 6 belts a second. Otherwise, towards the end of the game, I just ran out of belts. Oh, yeah. It's a pain in the bum when you have to basically restart. So what I did, as I said, alright. Three belts requires one and iron. Okay. Bring in our iron. I can't put that directly there. In fact, oh well, there's no reason not to. Let's see, put that there. We need iron. So what we have here is that. Where are we? Yes. And very simple. Pull, push. 2 gears a second. Pull, pull, output. Okay, I did it this way. Show you why in just a moment. Because output we're getting 3. We probably need 3 of those to do it. And we may want to turn around and have 2 iron input as well. Oops. Oh, come on. Clumsy, clumsy. Yeah. Now the output we put into a box. And the easy way we could, at the beginning, we potentially will not have. Oh, for goodness sake, excuse me. Phone off, stop pinging me, people. I'm busy. At the beginning, we may or may not have these splitters. But we don't want to use splitters anyway. We want to use inserters. And I will show you why. The thing is, alright, we've limited that. We go to the next stage of our build where we want to do these. Why don't I use those? Yeah. Goodness me. Hitting the wrong buttons, eh? Right, we want to do these Mark II belts. And those require, obviously, three each. By the time we get to this point, we would basically bootstrap it. And we would also have turbines down here. We'll just assume there's turbines. 2 turbines a second. And output bell. And the belts we are going to be getting. Now, once you've got a few belts, of course, you just upgrade everything here. Ditto for sorters. So at this point, if we are, I will show you, if we are putting this through a box on a splitter, we can limit that. However, actually be better illustration down here. What comes in on the belt goes out before whatever's here. So if we've put some upgraded belts into here, we've upgraded to the blue belts, or for the orange ones we've upgraded to the green belts, this will be slow chewing down these. By using sorters, it will only pull through ones when there is a gap there. All this will go out first, so we can fill it completely up. Only once all those are gone will these start being used, and then these will start generating more belts to refill. So this is why we want to use belts rather than a splitter. A splitter kind of slows down the progress a bit. Alright. And since we're here, we may as well show the blue belts. Again, it's so simple. And I've done it again. Why? We're not using Mark III, though by this point we would have, sorry, Mark II. At this point we would have them. There we are. Pull it out. Yep. And what else do we need for these? We need supermagnetic rings and graphene. And we don't need much. Now, just a second. Graphene. We don't need a whole lot because when you look at it, 1 second requires 1 and 1. 2 of them, we need 2 and 2. Very simple. This is similar. They need 1 turbine each, so 2 turbines a second. Very simple builds. I showed that in the last one actually. You can quite easily make a build to do those things. So let's just hook this up. And by this time, we will probably at this point have, or we will have, the blue sorters. So you only need 1 to go out. Very fast. Upgrade. Oh. Having 3 there is just like, yeah, insurance. Because blue sorters aren't enormously fast anymore, that distinction is for pile sorters. Yourself a favour, Whisper. Easy. This one, if you're getting into end game with towards end game or after game with big builds, you'll probably be wanting to have a good number. 3,000. I've actually had 10,000 before even hitting mission complete sitting in my inventory because I just needed them for various builds. So there we are. There is the belt automation. Beginning to mid, late, or mid to late. Once you get PLS, I think it's PLS, let's just double check. I might be lying. No, once we get to PLS, we get Mark III. And we haven't even gone interplanetary yet. Well, apart from going and grabbing titanium. That's a different story. So those things, totally doable by mid-game. And that'll last you right through to the end game. Now let's look at assemblers. Sorry, not assemblers. Sorters. Assemblers are a totally different beast. Stick them in the maw. Sorters are a pain in the bum. At first glance. So again, one assembler doesn't really cut it. One sorter a second is not a heck of a lot. When you're getting into bigger builds especially. And it gets annoying when you need 2 Mark 1s per second to make 2 Mark 2s. It's a bit irritating. Ditto there, although the ratio is the same. So what we can do, that one, the ratio is the same, 1 second. So what we do, these need 2 Mark 1s a second to make 2 Mark 2 a second. These only make 1 Mark 1 a second. That means that we need 2 assemblers making Mark 1s. This is just to basically keep up. Otherwise your other machines are slow as a pig. And you may as well have them decently speed. So that needs iron, electronics, and it goes out. Let's mark it out. These are only one of each. Where are we? Iron, electronics, that's what we get there. So 1 second. What am I doing here? How do I? In a box. I have found that that is pretty much what you need stack wise. It's just a case of, yeah, we don't we need to make them fast, we just don't need heaps and heaps and heaps of them. The next one is we're going to make the Mark II. What am I doing here? That one. Apparently you can see I cannot focus. Sorry. We only need one of these. And a motor. That's all that's needed. It takes 2 of them in 1 assembler with 1 motor a second. Comes in something like that. There again. Easy. And then the final item, well, it's not the final item actually, it used to be, is the Mark III. And the Mark III requires 1 turbine, 2 sorters, and a single assembler. And of course it needs an electromagnetic turbine, I think it is. Mark 3. Electromagnetic turbine. 1 a second. Very easy. Again, it's the build I showed earlier. Well, in the other video I should say, not earlier. Totally different video. Oops. Now these will carry us through to the late game. Full mission complete. We don't need pile sorters yet. I personally view those as end game. And when we get to the point of needing pile sorters, we have a small problem. And that is that the pile sorter only makes 1 a second. Takes 2 input, but there's only 1 output. And that is a bit of a pain in the bum. But it is easily fixed. So what we'll do is we'll start over here. And let's put down an assembler. We want 2 pile sorters a second. Producers 1 a second, 2 assemblers is 2 a second. Alright. Now. What are the components for these things? Let's have a look. We obviously need those. We have them. They'll be coming out of here. We need 2 magnetic rings. Oops, I did not mean to click that. Well, obviously I did because I did it, but I shouldn't have. 1 super magnetic ring and 1 processor. Well, bring those in on belts. Feed it into the system. And pile sorters. Oh, I will shift that down because I built that one way too far up. It's going to get in the way of the other build. Let's put you here, what to do? Okay. And then we go, alright. No, I'll do this manually. Leave a little more space. There. Each pile sorter requires pile sorter? Hang on, what am I clicking on? This one. Pile sorter. Each pile sorter requires 2 blue a second. Each one of those produces 2 blue a second. Mark 4, Mark 3s. So that's no problem. 2 of them, 2 of them. And we already have this coming in. This one. That's our Mark 2s. Okay, as we are here, we'll just copy those over. Done. Again, 2 Mark 2s is required to make 2 Mark 3s. So, same thing. Far enough away. Give it a little more room. The room is just a me thing, don't worry about it. You do you. This is just somewhat handy for spacing. And who knows, I may want to slip a belt through there at some point. So alright. Green. Those Mark 1s. Oops. That's a little more. I'll do it just because I'm lazy. I should do Mark 3s, but never mind. By this point, these would all be upgraded to Mark 3s anyway. Like I say, I'm just being lazy. Okay. Now, to make these, probably going to run out of room. But just barely. Flashing. So there is 2 Mark 1s. That takes 2 Mark 1s and a motor to make 2 Mark 2s. The 4 Mark 1s, 4 Mark 2s. 4 Mark 2s, 4 Mark 3s. 4 Mark 3s, 1 and 1 is 2 pile sorters. That's probably at the end game or in the after game, sort of a minimum of what you're going to need. And to be honest, we'll probably put it up to that. We will need tons of them when we're doing big builds, like planetary builds and such. There's no point just waiting for it to trickle in. So, there is a little walk down logistics lane. Your very first Jumpstart logistics with extra items for doing things. And there's the 2 things you need for all logistics. Then we can go into here. That doesn't have to be there, technically. We can just pull it in off a wall or a belt. But I'm just saying, hey, put it there. That might be easy. That way we only need to fill in. That requires 2 iron, and that requires 1 iron, so 6 iron on a Mark 3 on a Mark 1 belt takes a whole belt of iron. Nothing left over. Nice and easy. Mid to end game. After game, call it. And the after, late after game, yeah, that's when you start doing like, let's have 20 of these and 10 of these and 10 of these and 10 of these, and yeah, and using Mark 3 or these days the dark fog assemblers, you get triple rate and all that sort of thing. Yeah, that's the big stuff. That's the big toys. But this is where we would start. There is your first base game. Smelting facility for assembly and a little extra stuff. Early mid game, late game. Early mid game to late game. After game, or if you're doing kind of speed run. Otherwise, just wait, take your time, let these do their thing. And I think that is enough of my burbling. There's not much more to say beyond, yeah, have fun with logistics. In the end, it's pretty easy. Just like any other thing, you follow, it tells you, the game holds your hand and says, 1 assembler will make 3. These are the things you need to make 3. Easy, easy, easy. Cheers.